Welcome to the Real Estate Show on WGBF AM with your host, Charlie Butler. This is where you'll learn to sell your home quickly and for more money. And now, the host of the Real Estate Show, the guy who guarantees to sell your home or he'll buy it himself, Charlie Butler.
Good Sunday morning, Tri-State. This is Charlie Butler, and this is the Charlie Butler Real Estate Show. I'm here with Evie Barr. Good morning, Evie.
Good morning, Charlie.
And we've also, later on, we've got a couple special guests, Jeff Bossy from Bossy Title and Teresa Fruit from Bossy Title. But so how's your week going, Evie?
The week I'm hoping will be wonderful. Last week was excellent with applications. The market still seems to be doing well. More applications coming in is always a good sign. How are things in the real estate world?
Things are still going very well. As we've talked before, things I don't think have changed that much. As even though we're into October or right here at the start of October, it still really has not slowed down much. It's the strong points in residential are still the 100 to under 300,000. So if you got homes in that 100,000 range up to 300,000, that has really been the strong point for listings. There's still a huge need out there for listings in that price point for homes that are in good condition, that are priced. And when I say priced well, people always think, oh, he means he wants me to give it away. And I really don't. For people pricing at market value, and are you seeing, and I was going to ask you, I meant to ask you before, are you seeing the same thing on the mortgage side? Is that the price range that you're working in a lot, that 100 to 300,000 range?
It definitely seems to be. That's where our pre-approvals are coming in at. Of course, it varies too. Wherever we're looking at pre-qualifications, lock loans are generally coming in at that range.
You want to explain to the people what a lock loan is?
Lock loan is whenever someone has a purchase agreement that's been agreed upon by the buyer and the seller. Everybody signed off on it. They send it to me. That's the point whenever I can lock in the interest rate and really get the loan going. We're recommending that you lock your interest rates. Do not let them float because anything can change in the market. Everything I feel like is so media driven that it's not like it used to be where rates are staying pretty consistent. You can't just wait for that lower rate to hit because the lower rates are right now. And with an interest rate, a borrower has an option to let float, and that just means that you can lock it in at a different time, but we can't guarantee that the rate will be the same as what it was previously offered due to market changes.
So, Evie, if I lock my rate in at 3, I don't want to quote it higher than what this
right.
What, 3 and a quarter, 3.5, what would be?
Rates vary per credit score, loan amount, loan to value.
We'll just say
and loan
3.
program.
We'll just say 3.5 for the sake of argument. If I lock my rate in for 3.5, if somebody's out there saying, "Well, that sounds too high," well, I'll just slap them. I can remember.
Yes.
I can remember when they were 10%. And that was a good rate. But anyway, so if I lock mine in for 3.5, and let's say the appraiser, or more likely the title company's taking too long,
That never happens.
I wanted to bust Jeff Bossy since he's standing right here. But no, if something like that, if something does happen, what happens to my rate lock if it goes past my time?
Normally, we lock in interest rate for 30 or 45 days. It depends on what the closing date is on the purchase agreement and also what loan program we're paying them into. And I say that because with the USDA loans, they basically get underwritten twice, once by Wirestone Mortgage and then a second time by the USDA directly. So those tend to take a little bit longer. But if there's an appraisal issue or we got the title work back in a timely fashion, but there's a lien that needs to be cleared up, and so that's the reason it's taking longer. There's a wider range that can cause a loan to be held up a little bit, but we look at what the pricing is whenever it goes to expire. we generally do try and extend it. If it's our fault, then we generally try to extend it at no charge.
Okay, that's great, and I know what you're saying. I know it's true about how busy. I'm sure you're taking a lot of applications right now because the Charlie Butler team we're trying to hire more people right now too,
which is a good thing.
It's a great problem to have. But anybody out there, if you got your real estate license, fairly new in the business, trying to get established. Or if you don't have your license, even we'll show you. We'll help you, get you through the process. Get everything going for you. It can be a very lucrative career. We're looking for listing agents. We're looking for buyers agents, both for our commercial division and for our residential division. So give me a call. The number is 812-422-4096. That's 812-422-4096. And ask for Lachey Schmidt. She's the operations director for the Butler team. And she'll get you in, tell you what we're looking for. We have a lot of leads right now. Agents that don't have this, we offer, we've got administrative staff take care of your paperwork for you. So give us a call today, and we would love to sit down and talk to you about, either starting a career in real estate or help you build it bigger. And, but since talking about the Butler team, might as well go ahead and talk about myself a little more, Evie.
Well, go for it.
Don't forget, we're talking about listings. Remember us for that for your listings, because don't forget, if we can't sell your home, we'll buy it. So just remember, call us about that special program right there. And give me a call. Either you can call me on my own cell phone. It's 812-499-7758, or call 812-422-4096. And just ask for me, ask for Deanna Herm, Darren Albin, Abigail Cole. I'm going to forget somebody. Mindy Malinsky, who we will talk to next week. So anyway, Justin Long, just give us a call. If we can't sell it, we will buy it.
And everyone on Charlie's team is so incredibly personable, including your entire office, but so easy to get along with and work with that you just have a fabulous team.
Abby, I really appreciate that, and we're not just going to just sit here and compliment each other, because we're actually, but
we're good at that.
We're good at that. Abby's whole staff, and really Waterstone, you even go up the line. I mean, I've had people in from their corporate offices before, and on up. You've heard Derek Danks on here before, and then people on above him have been in, and they've all been so gracious and just so great to work with. It's a really good company.
I have a wonderful support team, which means a lot and makes it a whole lot easier to go into work every day.
Now that Abby and I have patted ourselves on the back a bunch, let's turn to another aspect of the real estate business. We've got with us today Jeff Bossy. And hello, Jeff.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
We're doing great, and we've got Teresa Fruit.
Hello. So glad to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, Teresa. Jeff and Teresa are from Bossy Title Company, and I think, and Evie, jump in here anytime, but the first question let's just start with a broad question. I think people want to know, why do they really need you anyway? Seriously, I've
been asked that question so many times in my life, Charlie.
Not the normal reason that people ask that.
Oh, okay, thank you.
But why do they need a title company?
Well, a title company provides a couple of different services. And to be honest, the whole real estate transaction, obviously it starts with the clients working with you, Charlie. They find a house they like, then they start working with you because they have to finance that. At the end of the process is the title company. And I like to think of us as a two-part process. One is the issuance of title insurance. And then to summarize that very briefly, to ensure you have proper ownership of the property. There's no liens, encumbrances, excuse me. And then we have the actual closing process, and that's where most people are familiar with. When you sit at the table with the escrow officer, and you have your lender, you have your realtor, and you sign the 8,000 pages of documents that you have. And that ensures an insured closing. So we are the independent third party of that closing process.
Okay. Teresa, you got anything to add to that?
Well, I was going to say, we are the total package. So we complete the transaction that you start, Charlie, and then that Evie gets everybody together, and then we kind of put all of that and make that the reality where we have happy homeowners.
We're like the wind beneath your wings, Evie.
Yeah.
Jeff did actually say that in one of my closings. He told someone he was the wind beneath their wings. So one of my favorite closings yet. I do really have a lot of buyers that don't understand at all the purpose of the title insurance, which whenever I started in banking, I still remember getting these big old thick deeds or abstracts.
I still got some laying around my office.
Yes, which were so cool to go through. I love seeing the old wills where they gave horses to kids and that type of stuff. But with the title insurance now, what does that really do for the buyer?
Again, title insurance provides the owners free and clear title, proper ownership of their real estate, free of liens, encumbrances. It just ensures that they have proper ownership.
Exactly. And we check out the courthouse records. We do a chain of title. We research the property. We take it back, depending on the type of property, either 30 years or 50 years back, whereas the abstract did that way back to the patent. But with title insurance, you get a lot more coverage. So you have a lot more that you can rely upon in that title insurance because we pick up all of the, like he said, liens, encumbrances, easements, anything of record that is important that will attach to the property.
I think people would be surprised at the number of things that show up on people's real estate. I mean, they'd be shocked at that. And so, again, we clear that up for your all's client.
And I know from experience, there's sometimes that, we won't use names here, but someone that a large real estate investor here in town that has someone in another area with the same name who doesn't have as good a credit as he does. We'll put it that way.
Absolutely right.
And so instead of him being jammed up, you can take care of that too, can't you, Jeff?
We absolutely can. And again, with divorces, we were talking about those earlier, that clouds up a lot of title. You get issues with boundary lines, disputes of where that is. You're like me, my property line is where I stop mowing and my neighbor starts, but that doesn't always hold up in a good real estate transaction.
It covers breaks in the chain of title. I mean, it looks for everybody who would have had an ownership claim in the property and make sure that they gave up their rights or signed away their rights and conveyed. A lot of times we run into where we have heirs, long-lost heirs that we didn't know about that, all of a sudden we have to take care of those and track them down. So those are kind of the things that we look for to offer clear title as promised by the seller when they enter into that contract.
I don't think people really realize because I think they think about you guys because they don't use it that much unless it's a real estate investor or someone like that. They think of just the person they see that they sign the documents with, and that's okay. They pay them whatever they pay them, whatever that fee is. But they don't see everything that goes on behind the scenes, and especially if there's an issue.
No, they really don't. The only time they really think about us is when things go wrong, and that's fine. I want those folks to remember Evie. I want those folks to remember Charlie. I want them to remember people from your staff. We're more behind the scenes. You see us at the closing, and then they forget. But again, they're trusting you two to make sure that their transaction is safe, and then we help you guys make sure your customer is safe.
So, Jeff, let me ask you, or Teresa, whoever wants to jump in on this. I don't know why I'm asking Jeff anyway. I know you brought Teresa along because she's the one that knows what's going on.
Yeah, I've got the face for radio. Come on, Charlie.
You really do. That's what they tell me too. So, are there situations where you recommend that people, whether it be residential or commercial, they should come to you guys before they buy a piece of property?
We have that actually happen quite a bit. If they're especially in situations where you have a person who hasn't lived in the property or hasn't been directly involved, as say in an estate, or if you have like a trustee or a power of attorney, they kind of want to know what's on there because they may not have received notices. And so a lot of times that's where, when Jeff was talking about the surprises that come in, that's where we come in handy, because we can get all of that cleared before they enter into the contract, or they can at least offer to the buyer, say, hey, I've already run an advanced search on this. Here is what is on it, and then they can use that as a selling product as well.
Right.
Think of it like this, Charlie. How often do you have a client that they're going to sell their house, and you suggest to them, hey, let's go ahead and get a home inspection now. Let's see what issues there are, and we can fix them for when it does come time to sell the house. Kind of like that.
Same thing, and just like when we go out to somebody's house before they, let's say, you probably need to paint here, new carpet in here. It's just, you guys are clearing up those things that need to be that need to be done.
That's right. We want to clear that up before the actual transaction date. Makes it smooth, clean. Everyone looks good.
Let's clear up a couple things that people that I've heard over the years. And, for example, I can remember doing a deal where there was a dispute between the homeowner and their heating and air contractor.
What? That happens?
I know,
Never.
shocker, but it's and they said, well, that's between us and him. That has nothing to do with the real estate.
I understand why you're saying that, and a lot of people do think that, but no, because you're right. A dispute arises between any vendor and the homeowner. Homeowner gets upset. I'm not going to pay that bill, they say. Well, instead of taking to small claims court, that vendor can just file a lien against the house. And that's where it sticks or leans against the house, and it stays with the house, not that owner.
Yes, and the lien, as we always tell people, the lien runs with the land.
That's right.
That's right.
And also, I think we might want, because some people may not realize this, medical collections. Medical collections run, if they're filed, as a lien, correct?
That is absolutely
I mean,
correct.
I know I've seen them.
Yes, and by statute, a lien stays on the property for 10 years when it is gone through the judicial system. So we look for that.
Or even tax liens.
Right.
So whenever you guys do a title search, how far back do you truly go to make sure what's on the property and what's not, what liens are out there?
That's a great question. For like what we call the recorder side, we look for 30 years because an average mortgage or most mortgages run for a 30-year term. So we're gonna look back 30 years for mortgages. And on the judicial side, or what we call clerk side, we look for 10 years because by statute, liens attached to real estate for 10 years.
Okay. And one other important thing, I think, is the importance of keeping that title work in a very secure place, whether it's a lockbox or you're safe at home, wherever. Because if someone goes to refinance, can't they present that to the title company so the title company doesn't have to go back 30 and 10 years again?
Absolutely, and that does save them some money because our rates for our title searchers are based on how many years we have to go back. When we have a prior policy, then yes, we can run forward from there, and that does save them a significant amount of money.
Okay, and I know I just said if someone's looking to refinance, but if you have a seller who has their title policy as well, does that work the same? If the buyer agrees to go through Bossy Title again, can you use that policy again, even though it's going to a different borrower or buyer?
Absolutely. Yes, that's a great question. And we like having the owner's policy because that is the one that is the more binding. What people sometimes don't realize is that when a loan is paid off, that loan policy that they acquired is no longer effective. And that loan policy only covers the lender and not the owner. So we run across that sometimes too. That's why it's very important to purchase an owner's policy, and then that owner's policy is good for as long as you own it, as opposed to a lender's policy that will then be null and void after that loan is paid off.
Even guys that do this for a living, as Teresa just said, cash deals. It is rare to see people in cash deals that don't get an owner's policy. The guys that really are experienced this because they know what can happen, and we've all seen it happen when guys don't get an owner's policy.
My mother always used to say, don't be penny wise and pound foolish. I mean, you can save a couple bucks, but, you know, anyone who has done this before, as you know, Charlie, you just run a real risk for not spending the couple $100 for title insurance. Then if you don't get it at all, it's not worth the risk. But people will try to save pennies here and there, and then it ends up costing them many dollars later.
And again, for those of you that tuned in the middle, Evie and I, this is the Charlie Butler Show with Evie Barr, and we're talking to Jeff Bossy and Teresa Fruit from Bossy Title Company. And, gosh, I just had another question fly out of my head, Evie.
Well, I have a question.
Go ahead.
I'm going to flip over to the end, to the closing. So you guys get this nice little fee. What all is that fee being used for? I mean, because the documents come from the lender. So what do people need to realize you guys are doing on the back side of it?
How much time we got left, Bobby?
9 minutes or so.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, the closing is the actual part where people are most familiar. We provide an insured closing. We hold the funds in escrow as the independent third party. So the banks want to put their money somewhere before they transfer it, you know, to the buyer or for the house, or we hold the money from the seller before it goes to the buyer, other way around, buyer to the seller, excuse me. We hold the bank documents, we sign, we notarize. Again, we're the independent third party. So we protect the lender, we protect the buyer, and we protect the seller.
As I heard actually we were closing at your title companies, I heard a banker that we're both good friends with say one time, I said, why come we're not closing at the bank? How come we're closing at Bossy's? He said, because when I walk in Bossy's, I'm bulletproof.
Well, that's right. And our job is to make them look good.
Yeah.
And make you look good. And again, I want your clients, the borrower and the seller, to feel comfortable. They need to have a peace of mind because typically this real estate transaction is the biggest thing they have going on in their lives right now. It's the most expensive thing they have going on, and they need to feel protected and insured.
Okay, probably we're getting more over into the commercial side, but it's happening some on the residential side. People still ask us, and you guys can probably explain it better than us. Why can't I just go down and write a $10,000 check, or go get or a $15,000 or $20,000 check? How can I can go get a cashier's check? It's no big deal. It's good.
Well, if they want to do it just between the two of themselves, they can do it. But we, as a title company, cannot be part of that. So, there's banking laws that say no.
Yeah.
And we're just ensuring that.
So just so everybody knows what we're talking about, anything over, you guys correct me where I'm wrong here, $9,999.99.
Everything over $10,000 has to be wired.
Yeah. And people say, well, I'll go get a cashier's check. That will make it good. That's still, maybe it does, but they still can't do it.
No, not through us.
And that's part of the good funds law, and it's also part of what the tracing back the money and seeing where it came from, and just to be able to track the money. We have certain regulations and guidelines that we have to follow, not only at the federal level, but even at the local level. So we have it with the insurance department. We have to, and we're regulated by, of course, the federal government on these large transactions, well, what they consider large, over 10,000, and we have to account for that money.
And I also tell my buyers, if they ask why it has to be wired in over 10,000, that the title company wants to make sure they have their funds in their account before they start writing out checks. Whereas if you bring in a cashier's check for X amount, it might take 24, 48 hours before that can clear. So that way you guys know you have the funds in your account.
That's a great point, because Indiana is a table-funded state, so we disperse immediately.
Oh, I thought Jeff was going to say something.
I did too.
Yeah, we were all waiting. No, you don't.
I was just commenting, just a beautiful Sunday morning.
Okay. Thanks for that, Jeff.
I have more weather later.
Okay. And now, thank you for that weather, Jeff. Now, back to the news with Les Nessman here. No, I'm probably dating myself a little bit with the whole Les Nessman thing there, aren't I?
Is that WKRP?
And in Cincinnati.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. Teresa's too young. Teresa and Evie are too young for that show.
I'll go with that.
Me too.
Okay, let's move over quickly here to the. You guys not only do residential transactions, you also handle commercial transactions. Is that correct?
That is absolutely
We sure
correct.
do.
So anywhere from multifamily, large apartment buildings, office, you know,
well, in the last,
hotels, whatever.
Well, in the last 6 months, I mean, it's not uncommon for us. You know, we'll do a refi for a house that's $25,000, and then we've also just have completed the IU Med Center and the downtown hotel.
Wow.
Super. So you recently did, and Teresa, I know you worked on this. I know Jeff didn't do anything, but that's another story. You recently a local business. We probably shouldn't say them, but I mean they have several locations. But they they were running into issues with veteran easements in their new building and things like this, and you guys were able to do the research to find out what they could use, what they could, where the easements were at, everything like that.
Yes. And we have things in place that we can find that information either at the courthouse through an easement that's already been recorded or through surveys. So we have things in place that we, look for. We ask for that information, and then sometimes we're provided that information as well.
Bossy Title is very lucky to have Teresa. She has so many contacts at the courthouse, not only in this county but the surrounding counties, that again, if we can't find something readily or very easily, all Teresa has to do is just make a call. She has what I call that fruit charm, and she can get anything, anyhow, anywhere. So it's not uncommon for attorneys here in town just to call her and ask her questions. So we're very pleased and proud to have her on our staff.
So I was just wondering why she has so many contacts in courthouses, around the area. Was that, that you saw? Are you saying, what were you saying there, Jeff?
Well, I'm saying because she's so experienced. Because again, working with all these officials.
Okay, I do.
My years in the courthouse were spent doing the title research. I even updated abstracts. I did the title search.
So you were on the right side of the bars, okay? Okay. We got
and I was going to say, just a little bit of history. I helped start the title company with his dad 23 years ago when I moved into town, and so I primarily did the title searching and running the title company.
I didn't know that. The commercial things like the IU Med Center, the new hotel, different large projects. How is that different than what our person buying a home?
The process is surprisingly similar because again, we check the records, make sure there's no liens, encumbrances, anything like that. So really, for us, the process is the same.
And I tell my staff to treat a $2,000 property the same as you would a $2 million property and so on. So that he is correct. The process is the same. But then you get more involved with the commercial entities because you have more players, I guess, or more people where you have attorneys and you have, different players that are people involved in the transaction that makes it a little bit more involved when it gets to the closing end of it.
I'm on the residential side, so I know that you do judgment searches for the individuals. But if you have a company, do you have to break down and do judgment searches for whoever's signing off?
That's a great question. It depends on the type of entity. If you have a corporation, then no, you don't have to break it down that far. But it just depends on the type of company.
Okay.
Guys, our producer signal says we got a minute left. Is there? And these guys do a great job. I think Evie uses them, and I use them.
Bossy Title is wonderful.
Bossy Title does a great job. How can people get a hold of you?
Well, it's easy. First off, call Evie or call Charlie. They have our number memorized, which we appreciate. So again, see them for all of your lending and commercial and residential real estate needs. Also, you can go to the website, www.jeffbossy.com. Hey, that's my name. That works convenient. Or call us, 421-4000. We're on the web, so we're pretty easy to get hold of.
All right, Jeff Bossy, Teresa Fruit, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys, so much.
Thank you very much.
And Evie, I know we're about out of time. Bobby's anything you want to add?
Any mortgage questions, people can call me at 812-463-3199 or email me at ebar@waterstonemortgage.com.
And Charlie Butler at thecharliebutlerteam.com. We got to go, guys. Have a great Sunday morning. See you next week.
You've been listening to The Real Estate Show on WGBF AM with the guy who guarantees to sell your home or he'll buy it himself, Charlie Butler. Join us every week at this time to find out how to sell your home quickly and for more money. For more information, email cbutler@kw.com or visit charliebutlerteam.com.